Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is part 4, the 11th of September, and we've got some remarkable results. So I'm going to go through these one by one, and hopefully, there's a bit of glare and I can't see that well, but hopefully you can see okay. So this is the test piece, the control sample, nothing applied, rusting, terrible. This is Woolwax, very popular in the United States. It's doing very well. It's doing very well. And on this test, this time round, I've done 2 scratch marks here and here, and you can see them here on the other samples. And the reason I've done that is to see what happens when there's a stone chip or the surface is interrupted. Will, for example, rust go underneath the test samples, the products, or what will happen? With Woolwax, it's done absolutely excellent, and it does seem to have self-healed. I can't actually see any rust, which is very good. The slight downside to Woolwax is it's quite expensive. It's from the USA, hard to get a hold of in the UK, and it really sticky. Well, I suppose it's not terribly sticky, but it is sticky enough to attract mess and dirt. But it's doing very well. Woolwax, very good. Here is Dinitrol. The rust marks along the scratched areas I'm not personally bothered about, as long as that rusted area doesn't go under the black underseal. There was some suggestion that if black underseal chips, then the rust can get under it and you can't see it. But I think what people are referring to there is a different type of underseal, which is like a rubberized underseal, which is completely different to the modern lanolin based underseals. Anyway, Dinitrol is doing relatively well. It's a hard finish, paint finish, which I don't particularly like. Yeah, it's not my favourite type of finish because it's hard and I think it will chip more or crack. But it's doing quite well. The 2 little lines there, they're just showing rust, and it hasn't gone under that area. It's limited to where the scratches are. The most amazing is actually Bilt Hamber. I gouged massive scrapes along Bilt Hamber, and it's not as wet as some other lanolin products, yet there's hardly any rust showing on this massive gouge mark going through the sealant, which is, to me, it's absolutely incredible. How it's not rusting, I don't know. But that is absolutely amazing. It's gone through. I've actually added salt to these and water, hose them down, and even though there was salt placed in these scratch marks, hardly any rust has formed on the Bilt Hamber, which is absolutely incredible. This is LPS free. A little bit of rust forming on the scratch mark, not too bad. It really isn't too bad. And you know, to have some scratch mark on a stone chip where the coating's come away is not a fail. It's just really, will it go under the scratch mark? This is Jennolite Waxoil by Jennolite. It's doing really well, but it's had some messes attracted to the very sticky surface. And the rust has formed a bit on the lines, but other than that, it's doing really well. Again, it's a very probably the most sticky sealant. I don't particularly like that because under a car it will attract a huge amount of mess. And do you really want to apply a second seal, a second sealant over that? But you'd have to wash it off, and look how dirty it is. Fluid film absolutely collapsed, so that could be good for cavities where it's not exposed to wash and spray from car wheels. But other than that, this is not something I'd put on the underseal of a car. It's nearly as bad as the control sample. And Lanoguard. It was the second to fail on the first test after 24 hours, as in it failed because there's rust showing, but it didn't completely collapse like fluid film. And the scratch marks seem to suggest that it is self-healed, so I've scratched it and the wet liquid has kind of seeped into the scratch marks, it seems, and it hasn't produced any more rust. Again, this is sticky dough, a bit like Jennolite, a bit like Waxoil, which I don't particularly like because it attracts lots and lots of mess. And in terms of applying, say, a new coating a year late, because you have to with Lanoguard, they say do it every year. So when you have a sticky lanolin type sealant, that does present a problem, because do you really want to have all of this mess underneath the second coating? Whereas if you go to Bilt Hamber, it's a hard wax. You can move it if you think, if you make a lot of effort. Actually, this is going to require a lot of effort to move now, but you can overcoat that and it will last years and years, much more than Lanoguard, I think, personally, because this is not coming off for anybody. And look, even with the gouge marks, it's done absolutely amazingly. If someone can tell me why that is not rusting there, I'll be really interested, because there was salt put there, it was gouged to bare metal, there was salt put in there, it's been there overnight and it hasn't rusted. To me, that's miraculous. I don't know why. So if you can tell me why, I'll be really grateful. Anyway, this is part 4, and enough of my rambling. Hopefully we're going to have some more interesting results in part 5. Thank you for watching.